first, some mock drafts have Trey Lance falling to 12. Any opinions on him based on his pro day?
Trey Lance. So watching Trey Lance, he also is a fit in the Kyle Shanahan offense in terms of North Dakota State runs a pro style offense. So you see a lot of the same concepts. I tweeted out a clip he ran leak, which is a popular Kyle Shanahan concept. But the physical tools are there. But I don't know, his limited reps, his one season of play in the FCS, all that stuff just kind of worries me. I also think he's not a very anticipatory thrower. He throws a lot, like he doesn't throw people open. He waits till they're open to throw. A lot of that stuff reminds me of Garoppolo. And I would be wary of taking that type of a player like in the top 12. He reminds me a lot of Jordan Love coming out of Utah State, maybe a little better, but Jordan Love went like 31, something like that. So
yeah, but still,
if you're talking Lance as like the Niners trade back up from 43 into the first round to get Trey Lance, okay, I'd understand that a little more, but like trading up into the top 10 to get more of a project, I would be a little hesitant with that. Especially with what Blake said in terms of job security and things like that, I would go for more of a sure thing.
Blake?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, he has the physical tools. The dude's built like a running back. He has a cannon of an arm, but he just doesn't seem like a guy that makes the sense for the Niners timeline. Like, just unless he doesn't look like a guy who can start day one. He's played 13 games in college where he looked like clearly the best athlete. And one thing that just worries me a lot is like when a lot of his big plays are just like him running and like stiff arming middle linebackers from the FCS. I think is that going to really translate that much? I don't know. Like he's an insane athlete. Don't get me wrong, but how good he is against the FCS isn't always like the best predictor of how he'll be in the NFL based on his play style, which is my biggest concern. And then the timeline issue too. Like he definitely is a project. Like if you threw him in day one and like he doesn't pan out, I think a lot of people would expect that. But yeah, I just don't think he's there for the Niners. And I didn't watch his pro day, so I can't say that. I'm just basing it off of like what I've seen from him in actual games.
Yeah, I don't care for his pro day. I don't know. I'm not the most informed when it comes to quarterback mechanics. So a pro day is not useful for me because I haven't really gotten into learning that stuff. For me, if the guy looks aligned, then it's good enough for me. If it's translatable and he looks aligned when he's throwing the ball. So like the easy ones to say they're not is if you remember Sam Darnold coming out of USC was just a mechanical mess. His feet would go that way and his arm would go that way and he would throw the ball. Like those are easy to see. But for the most part, I don't have the depth of knowledge on the different nuances of that. What I can say is that this guy scares the hell out of me. He's the one guy I don't really want the Niners to take because I think he's such a wild card. There's a giant range of possibilities of what he could turn out to be, and I don't want to be the Niners to be the team playing with that kind of fire. Because one, I think the Josh Allen comparison's a little rich. He's physically extremely talented. He is not as talented as Josh Allen. Josh Allen is one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. That's an important distinction to make. And two, it's just the lack of reps, a lot of his throws are schemed where you throw it to one guy. I mean, that's how Niners plays are. But if you look at Leak is really a play designed to throw to a singular target, and it's play action, drop back, and throw to that target. He doesn't have a lot of throws in his career, too. Like Mac Jones has the same amount of starts as him, but Mac Jones has, I think, at least 1.5 times the number of throws. Yeah, it's close to double, so that's important. Honestly, I don't care if he falls to 12 because I wouldn't take him at 12. He's scared. He's a guy that I think I would prefer if the Niners stayed away from because I think there is a scenario that Trey Lance is a super duper superstar in the NFL, but I think there's also a scenario where he's just never ready for the speed of the game and ready to play. And so for that reason, I just don't want to be the person taking that risk or the Niners to be the person taking that risk.
Yeah, the Josh Allen comp is a little wild to me because if you watch Josh Allen, like his Wyoming tape, and maybe you and I talked about this, he played in a lot of games where the weather was crappy, where it felt like his team sucked, where it felt like he was really elevating guys, and you could see some potential, whereas Trey Lance, obviously you see the potential, but you don't see those other factors that you take into consideration when, like with Allen. So that comp is a little rich for me, like you mentioned too. I don't think he's ceiling that high.
I agree.